Good morning. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Rick McCubbin, Chief of Bardstown Police. Nelson County Sheriff Ed Mattingly. Trooper Jeff Gregory from KSP Post 4. Very briefly, I want to explain a little bit of what happened yesterday here in Bardstown. One of our officers observed a red pickup truck that turned in front of him in a very reckless manner. At the same time, the driver was hanging out of the window, yelling at the officer. The officer turned to attempt to pull him over, and a short pursuit began. The pursuit lasted about 2 miles. The red truck stopped as the officer was exiting his vehicle, thinking the stop was over to do a felony stop. The driver of that truck observed the officer exit and threw the truck in reverse, smashed into the Bardstown police car, trapping the officer halfway in the vehicle, halfway out. Continued to accelerate and knocked him back. We're not even sure how far. I don't have the exact measurements, but knocked the vehicle back with such an impact. Again, trapping the officer, continued to accelerate. Our officer discharged his weapon several times. At that point, his vehicle was disabled. He could not continue to chase because the suspect at that point pulled away. Just up the road, he encountered a Nelson County deputy sheriff. He struck that vehicle at an intentional high rate of speed, with such speed that that vehicle immediately burst into flames. The deputy was able to get out of that vehicle. The vehicle then fled that scene, where he encountered a third law enforcement officer, a second Nelson County deputy sheriff. At that point, the deputy was able to get the vehicle stopped, was attempting to get the subject out of that vehicle at gunpoint. A struggle ensued. The subject attempted to disarm the deputy. That deputy discharged his weapon at that time as well. The suspect was obviously Nelson County EMS was called. He was transported and then immediately airlifted to University. I will identify the Bardstown police officer, Officer Kyler Wright, and that's Kyler with a K, K-Y-L-E-R, Officer Kyler Wright. He is one of our canine officers. No, the dog was not injured. Yes, the dog was with him. Kyler Wright is 26 years old. He's been a law enforcement officer since 2010. He began his career with the West Liberty Police Department and has been with the Bardstown Police since April of 2012. Sheriff?
I just want to recognize the Fenwick family, and my thoughts and prayers go out with them in this tragedy. I want to inform you of who the two deputy sheriffs were that worked for the Nelson County Sheriff's Department. Sergeant Jason Allison, who is a team leader. He is 42 years old, and he started his police career in Lebanon, Kentucky, and transferred to Nelson County, where he's been with us for 10 years. Deputy Brian Voles, V-O-I-L-S. He is 35 years old, and he also has 10 years with our agency and transferred from Lebanon, Kentucky. Deputy Voles is the officer that discharged the weapon, and Jason Allison's cruiser is the one that was burned. I would like to inform the public and inform the media that these officers are good men. They've served our community well. They don't have a history of any disciplinary action. Sergeant Allison is one of the finest men we have, and he is a team leader with our department. And Brian Voles is a instructor for our firearms. They both have children. Deputy Allison has 2 children, and Deputy Voles has 1. They're in the career of serving the community, and they have done their job and what they were supposed to do and what they were trained to do. And I'm here for their families. Their parents are concerned for their well-being. Their wives are very tearful, and at the end of the day, they have to live with these actions, and they are human, and they are Christian, and they are worried and will worry and will suffer from the actions of this perpetrator. And I hope that everybody in the public realizes that police officers are human and that they have feelings and emotions just like everyone else. And I'm here for them, and I'm here for their families, and I'm here for the public, and I will do what it takes to come to a peaceful resolution in this.
The suspect in this case is named John K. Fenwick. He's 25 years old from Bardstown, Kentucky. He's very well known to law enforcement, and at this time he is in serious but stable condition in ICU at University of Louisville Hospital. State police has been called in by both departments to investigate. We plan on doing a thorough and impartial investigation. It may take some time. Lots of times you have forensics and different things that take a while to come back. When we do come to a conclusion on our side of the investigation, it'll then be turned over to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, and will be up to them to adjudicate it however they see fit. But at this time, I'm not going to answer a bunch of questions about the investigation, just because the investigation being open, it's not something that we generally do. So once we get it wrapped up and get to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office and he decides the course of action from there, and it's done, then we'll be glad to discuss any of the particulars of the case. So, yes, ma'am.
Can you talk us through from the beginning of the day, starting with him obtaining the car through the way that it ended?
Basically what Chief McCubbin said earlier, you know, it's my understanding that he broke into the Franklin dealership and obtained keys or however it was that he got access to the vehicle that he had taken, and that's when law enforcement met up with him and everything started.
And in terms of that area on the street that we're talking about, Parkway Drive, there's that curve, and we can see sort of the trajectory of the way everything played out. Did he come in on Woodlawn and then it ended over there in front of the bakery where we could see the shell casings?
No, started Springfield Road end.
Started on
Springfield Road end, going towards.
You know better than me if you want to step up.
Yeah, it started Highway 150, Springfield Road. He turned left there. That road connects to Woodlawn Road. So that connector road is where all three of the events occurred.
Okay, and then right there, we're just trying to talk through the video that we have to kind of explain people the layout of it, where we saw that collection of shell casings right there in front of the bakery. Is that?
That's the first. That was our officer. That was the first stop.
That was the first stop.
And the second one was the burned out vehicle. The third one was the truck and the deputy sheriff's car up towards the Woodlawn Road end of that road.
Did he also, the third sheriff's deputy car that was, you know, farthest away from town, did he also ran that car? It looked like it had damage
Yes,
as well.
all three vehicles destroyed.
Can you explain, very well known by law enforcement, does he have a lengthy criminal history? Have you been, you know, were there calls made to come check on a house?
When I say very well known by law enforcement, I just mean that they've had interaction with him. As far as how many times that he's been arrested or however many calls they've made to his residence or traffic stops, I don't know that number off the top of my head. But it's my understanding that the first policeman that had contact with him was aware of who it was when he made eye contact with him.
What was it that he was saying to the officer as he was hanging out the window?
That's still part of the investigation and something that we're not going to get into today.
His mother has contacted us saying that she had just contacted police right before this had happened, maybe a day before, wanting help from police, and they said she needed to wait till Monday. Can you comment on that?
I'll comment on that, Chief. Take that. Our deputies had received calls. We did an interview with him. She was claiming that he was mentally ill. My deputies interviewed him, stated he was coherent. He was calm. He spoke with them. He didn't depression about him, and that he was taking his medication, and that he was going to see his psychologist on Monday, and that he felt that his family was picking on him.
What day was that?
This was in the previous 24 hours.
Was every discharge of every weapon intentional?
Yes.
How many shots were fired?
I'm gonna leave those questions to State Police.
That's something else that we're not gonna address right now, just part of an open investigation.
Have you placed charges on Mr. Fenwick yet?
It's my understanding that he has not been charged yet just because of his medical condition, and there's no imminent, he's not gonna get out anytime soon because of his medical condition, so we didn't have to be in a hurry on that, and it's being reviewed, and he'll be charged accordingly.
Did the suspect have a weapon besides the big truck that he was using?
First, there's no such thing as an unarmed encounter with a law enforcement officer. I know that's become the hashtag of our country right now. Anytime any of us, whether we bring the weapon, the person brings the weapon, or we both bring a weapon, no such thing as an unarmed encounter. And in this case, the vehicle was his main weapon, which is a weapon. The second event was that he attempted to disarm the deputy, which is within itself against the law. So both of those situations are justified shoot situations. So he did not have a gun on his person, if that's what you're asking, but there's no such thing as an unarmed encounter with a law enforcement officer, ever.
And Sheriff, when you spoke earlier about the families and the deputies and police involved, are you concerned about some sort of backlash from the community, or?
Well, we must take notice of previous cases that the media and how the media has handled those situations. Chief McCubbin and I are both transparent people. We want the public to be informed and accurately informed. And we do not want trouble. We are glad that he is white, and we shouldn't have to be worried about that. And we do not want any backlash or violence in this community because people have been misinformed. I think that the public needs to know how the criminal justice system works and that what officers are able to do. And the media has not done a very good job of informing the public, and the public is not educated on how the system actually works. And we don't want those type of troubles in our community. We're upfront, open. The state police must continue to investigate the case. It's not going to happen tomorrow. There's not going to be a conclusion tomorrow, and we have to let them do that. We have given plenty of indication as to what's happened without causing any conflict with the Kentucky State Police investigation. And Chief McCubbin and I just want the public to know that our guys are out here working, doing what they're supposed to do, and this is a terrible thing that's happened, but it's part of the job. And we have a job to keep the public safe, and we have a job to keep the public informed, and that's why we're here today.
I would assume there's dash cam footage and that you are.
Everything the Kentucky State Police has on the investigation is that'll be something that they're handling, and both Rick and I both contemplated working the case ourselves, and just to make sure that everything is open, we contacted the Kentucky State Police to work the case for us, and we're trying to be transparent, get the information to you as we can. And I just want to reiterate that my guys have a lot on their plate, and they're on administrative leave, and it's paid. And I would ask that you all respect their privacy and give them time to get through this.
I'm sorry, would you just be able to clarify for us, because we did report that there wasn't dash cam footage, and if there is, that's something we need to correct.
You're going to have to address those questions to the Kentucky State Police.
Carmen, to be honest with you, I haven't spoken to my detectives in depth that much about what kind of evidence they had taken, so I don't know the answer to that. So that's, you know, it's something that's still part of the investigation, just like how many shots were fired or anything like that. We're not going to talk about it anyway. So, I mean,
But couldn't you say if the cruisers have dash cams in them?
I don't know if they're equipped with it or not.
I do not, the Nelson County Sheriff's Department does not have any functioning, we're not owners of any camera footage. I do know that some of our deputies carry footage for their own protection.
Chief, do you know what time the break-in happened at the dealership?
The best we can tell, approximately 7 a.m. We did not receive an alarm. We do not know why, but the alarm company for that company failed to notify Nelson County Dispatch, so we had no idea that the burglary had even occurred. We weren't even looking for a red truck at all. He brought attention to himself. Had he just made that left and not done that in a reckless manner and kept his mouth shut, it probably wouldn't have ended the way it did, because we weren't looking for him.
Can you kind of talk to us about that? I mean, just the narrative that the dealership's given to us about what he did, busting through the doors, stealing the keys, then clearly trying to attract the attention of law enforcement, not seeming to make any effort to hide what he'd been doing. Is this somebody who is looking for trouble this day?
Well, I think as the sheriff alluded to, he has issues. So to try to get inside his head, I think we've all tried to do that to help that family out. We don't know what his mindset was. We don't know if he intentionally did that, as you mentioned. He very well may have. Or if just his mental status at that time told him to do something else. We don't know, to be very honest with you.
And we're heading into National Police Week. It's just started, a time where nationally officers come together to reflect and often to mourn the number of people put in harm's way every single day. You yourself just added another name to the memorial last year. To have an incident like this, where 3 officers' lives were clearly in a lot of danger, you know, having a car rammed so hard that it was set on fire, how does this affect your mindset as you head into that week?
Well, I'm leaving today for Washington, D.C. Many of us are actually this week, and sadly it illustrates the time we're going through right now, all across the country. Saturday night, 2 Hattiesburg policemen gunned down. I think we're down below 50 hours. I've used it before, every 57 hours, but I think we're down below that, I believe. It's just a violent time right now, a very violent time, and you know, we are coming up on the 2-year anniversary of losing our officer here in our community. We're traveling to Washington to honor a couple of hundred other officers, men and women, who died this past year. And then to have a quiet Sunday morning on Mother's Day, when everyone was trying to cook breakfast and for their mom and enjoy the day, to have this happen, it's the real world. It's what we're facing. Bardstown, Kentucky, or Baltimore, Maryland. Population's the only thing that's different, sadly, across the country right now. The mindset is I don't even know how to get in that head, to be honest with you. But there are a lot of issues right now.
And this comes at a time that you're looking at an uptick of crime in the community. You put out there how you're working to kind of get a handle on that before, I don't know, it gets out of control. Do you believe this is at all connected to it, or does it just reflect an overall change the community's going through?
You're right. It's just one of many examples. It's reflective of what we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks. The sheriff and I were talking that the last 2 weeks in our community, Bardstown, Nelson County as a whole, has been just off the hook. Drugs have a nexus to everything we do, sadly, and we're not immune to that. Bardstown, Kentucky is no different than any other community, but sadly we are seeing that. You know, we are working, doing what we can do with families. It's bad when the families are so bad that we are the last resort. But we're doing everything we can, but our hands are rather tied criminally. Or in other words, if they're not committing a criminal act, there's not a lot the police can do. We can help try to get the person in the system. We can try to get them rehab. I know we do it. The sheriff's office does it. I have it in my own family. I don't care to tell you. I sympathize with what families are going through because I know exactly what they're going through. But that still doesn't give us an excuse. But it's a reason that we're seeing so much crime, and violent crimes too. Not your crimes against properties, but your crimes against persons right now. It's really at an all-time level. You know, I told somebody I was policing in the west end of Louisville in the 1980s when crack hit the streets. 28 years ago, and I thought, man, it can't get any worse than this. But I was wrong. This is a very bad time in society as a whole, and you know we can't just arrest our way out of it. We know that. We don't want to. None of these three agencies want to do that. But we don't have the answer yet either. I'll be quite honest with you. And in the meantime, we have incidents like what occurred yesterday. It's just solidifies everything that we say when we try to tell our community this is real. And then you wake up on a Sunday morning and things like this happen. So.
Do we think we need more help for people with mental illnesses in the community?
Oh, I think we do.
Or treatment
I think it's
options available for them?
sure. You know, we have that problem here. You know, our hands are tied sometime. And as I mentioned just a moment ago to Carmen, you know, it's bad when mom or dad call us. You've got to help me with their own kids or family members. But yeah, the mental issues. We both sit on a board, working with the higher ups, trying to come up with ways to help. Because again, we don't want to arrest our way out of it. We can't. But there's got to be somewhere to get a lot of these folks help, especially the ones that are addicted to drugs. We know they don't want to be on drugs. We know that. But you know, an addiction's a mean thing. So.
How many beds are there available as far as for people with mental health issues?
Oh, I wouldn't have any idea. Do you, Sheriff? Not enough. Not near enough.
Sheriff, can you just talk about a little bit about the struggle and the position that you're in if a family member reaches out to you saying, I've got concerns about this person, yet you follow up with that person and you can't identify an immediate threat?
Well, what you have to remember is that individual has rights, and we have to have probable cause. If we got into a situation where you came up and said that guy's crazy, take him to the hospital, you know, we can't just operate off of that. The officer, to make an arrest, has to witness those things. And in this particular situation, he did not witness those things in order to take him into custody. And, you know, that process is a whole nother process itself. And we're seeing a whole lot of drug addiction that turns into mental illness, or is classified as mental illness now. And to differentiate between the two, you just don't know.
Chief, I want to try to get the dogs right. The canine was Ace and Kyler Wright's people, Officer Wright.
Zeus is Kyler is Zeus's handler.
And considering, I guess, what happened with Officer Satterley last year, have you all encouraged any type of counseling or physical therapy for the officers involved or hurt?
Since losing Officer Ellis, we've made some things mandatory for our officers, yes. I don't want to get into too deep on that, but with respect to the officers, but yes, we have made changes to help our personnel through, you know, times like this. Any other questions? Okay, thank you all.